Justice. Opening of the court. The chamber of the court of Yyth rose like a cathedral of blackstone veined with crimson quartz. Every torch burned with a blue flame, hissing faintly as though the walls themselves thirsted for justice. Banners of the council, stitched with serpentine scales, loomed above the dais where Damien Cloakfist sat, broad as a bear, one hand resting on the executioner's hammer that marked his dual authority. At his right, Hugh Treadwell leaned forward, parchment already inked with citations of law and precedent. His jaw was square, his eyes sharp, his robes pristine. At Damien's left, Orym Quickspeak lounged, quill tapping against a heavy tome, smirk half concealing his unease. Near the center of the hall stood Yyth Purge, armor-bearing scratches. From the road, dust clinging to her cloak, chin lifted, unwavering. Beside her, shackled in ruined iron, was Fang Deathblade. His long hair hung tangled, his gaunt face calm, his eyes steady, no defiance or pleading, only resignation. Above them, seated in his high-backed chair of carved ashwood, Yyth Purge faced the chamber. Though sightless, the weight of his presence filled the hall. He had sacrificed his eyes for Odin's wisdom, and when he spoke, the words carried divine gravity. A clerk struck the sounding rod. Let the trial commence. The accused, Fang Deathblade. The charge, mercy-killing of Jix of the Seven Brothers clan as confessed. The bounty was lawfully taken by Yyth Purge, bounty keeper of the court. The council shall now hear testimony. Yyth's testimony. Yyth stepped forward, armor clinking softly. She placed her palm on the oath stone, its runes glowing faintly. I, Yyth Purge, speak true, or may my tongue wither in the mouth of lies. Damien's voice rumbled. Proceed. I rode to Greenwall, Yyth began, her voice steady, where rumor placed Fang Deathblade. I knew the task was mine to bring him in. In Greenwall, I found him drinking alone, silent, neither striking nor plotting. He surrendered his sword without a fight and yielded himself to irons immediately. He made no plea, offered no resistance, even when I reminded him of the bounty on his head. Hugh's pencil scratched the parchment. Orym arched an eyebrow. Yyth continued. Our journey back to the court was without incident until we reached the Hallowstream Bridge. There, men of Rythal demanded tolls far beyond lawful rates, armed as soldiers though none bore official crest. I declared immunity as a state official, traveling with a bound prisoner of the court. They refused, mocking me and threatening both Fang and myself. When they drew steel, Fang moved first, striking with the force of a man unbound. Though in irons, he broke the lead man's jaw and scattered their ranks. Without his aid, I would not be standing here today. A murmur swept the chamber. Fang bowed his head. Yyth added, I rebound the prisoner, and we continued. He did not resist once. I delivered him to the court of Yyth, alive and unharmed, as I swore I would. She stepped back, silent. Cross-examination, Hugh Treadwell. Hugh rose, parchment rustling. Bounty Keeper Purge, he said, your service is noted, but tell the court, this Fang Deathblade, he claims mercy killing. He admits to slaying Jix of the Seven Brothers clan. Are we to call this justice or convenience? Yyth's jaw tightened. He acted as he did. He spared suffering, though the law may not see it as mercy. Yes, mercy. But law weighs differently. You say he aided you on the bridge. That is circumstance. The killing of Jix was deliberate. A family member, a clanmate. Compassion or calculation, he confesses, yet claims nobility. Shall that stand against law? Shall the council bless the killing of kin? Yyth met his gaze. The law may judge, but I speak only to what I witnessed. He surrendered himself. He aided me when my life was threatened. That is truth. Hugh's lips pressed. He returned to his seat. Cross-examination, Orym Quickspeak. Orym rose with practiced ease, quill twirling. Yyth Purge, he said smoothly. You speak of surrender, of aid. Fang acted first to save your life. He could have fled, could have struck you down at Greenwall or the bridge, yet he did not. What does that say? that a man who faced death chose mercy, even for another, may yet be worthy of consideration. Jada's eyes narrowed. I will not argue his worth. Only the facts. Orim smiled faintly. Facts are cold. But in coldness, the law may forget wisdom. Fang surrendered. He protected the living. He admitted to ending Jix's suffering, an act some call mercy, others murder. Does not law exist to temper cruelty, not perpetuate it? Damion rapped his hammer. Enough, Orim. Orim bowed theatrically and sat. Deathblade's statement. Damion's gaze fell upon Fang. Speak, prisoner. Fang lifted his head. Voice low but steady, he addressed the court. I am Fang Deathblade. I killed my cousin, Jix of the Seven Brothers clan, at his request. The man suffered, and I spared him longer pain. I bear the weight of that act, and I do not ask forgiveness. I surrendered to the law of Yyth, because I am done running. On the bridge, I acted to protect Jada Purge, as it was the right moment to defend life, not as a plea for favor. Judge me, punish me, bind me. I accept whatever consequence this court decrees. He bowed his head again, silent. Debate. Slammed his palm on the table. You hear him? He confesses to the act. Mercy or not, the law cannot condone killing, even at a loved one's plea. Shall we sanction acts that skirt justice under the guise of compassion? What precedent would this set? If kin may die by a relative's hand with impunity, what law remains? None. The council must enforce order, not sentiment. Orim sprang up, quill flicking. And yet, Hugh, if law cannot recognize the humanity within an act, what purpose does it serve? Fang ended suffering at Jix's plea. He surrendered. He defended life. Is there no room for context, for mercy tempered by responsibility? Shall we let rigid doctrine crush what little conscience remains? The law is not merely punishment, it is guidance. The chamber roiled with murmurs. Damion raised his hand. Silence fell. Judgment of Damion Cloakfist. Damion stood. Voice as deep as rolling thunder. Fang Deathblade has confessed. The ledger of his act, the killing of his cousin at Mercy's plea, is heavy. Yet the facts are clear. He surrendered. He protected. A state official in peril, he did not resist when bound. The law demands recognition of both crime and circumstance. Justice must balance action and intent. He lifted the great hammer of judgment, iron gleaming. Thus I decree, Fang Deathblade shall be bound to the service of the court of Yyth for 20 years. He shall labor within its halls, under supervision, fulfilling duties, where his strength may serve the living rather than take life. This sentence shall serve both law and prudence. The hammer struck stone, echoing. Hugh bristled but nodded. Orim allowed a small grin. Fang bowed his head once more, accepting the decree. Article. Jada Purge found Fang in Greenwall, not fleeing, not hiding, but bound. Shackled, sold as a slave by those entrusted to enforce the law. He had surrendered himself to justice, yet the authorities there betrayed it. The man whom we call prisoner acted under duress not of his making, yet he bore responsibility for no corruption of conscience. He leaned heavily on his staff. Consider this, would any of us, bound by chains sold from the very dungeons we trusted, remain pure of fear, of anger, of choice bent to necessity? Fang's path was crooked, not by whim, but by circumstance. He struck no one during his capture. He aided the life of another, and yet he bears the weight of law's rigid hand for the sins of a system that failed him. Ardigal lifted his hands, palm outward, as though weighing invisible scales. I dissent, not in denial of punishment, nor in defiance of the court, but in observation of truth. The mercy killing of his cousin, his surrender, and his forced flight from Greenwall authorities paint a man shaped by fate, by corruption in others, and by moral obligation to family. Let the record reflect this. Judgment must consider not only what was done, but what was forced upon a man by betrayal of law itself. He lowered his staff. Silence settled over the chamber like a tide. Even Hugh Treadwell, stern and unyielding, felt the weight of Ardagul's meditation. Thus, Ardagul concluded, while the court may bind him in service, let it be remembered that the law is not perfect, that men act under duress, and that true justice is sometimes found in recognition of the failures around us, as much as in punishment for what we see.